13 News at 5 o'clock starts right now. And Felicia's off tonight. Dustin's in for her. Now at 5, it's the first execution the state's performed in more than 15 years. What we're learning about the death of Joseph Corcoran as we now look ahead to the next execution in Indiana.
Cloudy and colder today, looking ahead to a colder and snowy pattern in your forecast.
And renovating Clues Memorial Hall, the improvements coming to the historic Performance Hall on Butler's campus and the new venue planned next door. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News at 5.
Executions no longer a thing of the past here in the state of Indiana. This morning, Indiana executed its first inmate in 15 years.
Joseph Corcoran died by lethal injection just before 12:45 this morning in Michigan City, Indiana. Our Chase Howell spoke with those who witnessed the execution, including the pastor who was in the room with Corcoran.
And Chase, he also spent the hour with him leading up to the execution as well. It had to be a very meaningful and difficult time.
Absolutely, and that's right. And while I want to respect that privacy of the conversation, what the pastor, I should say, did speak to me about, he says the two caught up like old friends, but he knew exactly what was about to happen.
Yeah.
Joseph Corcoran, the man convicted of killing his brother and 3 others, was executed Wednesday after decades of sitting on death row.
Would you pray that it would be painless?
Pastor David Leitzel says that's what Corcoran asked him to do ahead of his execution. And while the Department of Correction says his last words may have been, "Not really, let's get this over with," Leitzel says in the chamber he said something else.
I took a hold of his hand, and you would almost have to hear it. Joe and I talked and joked all the time, and Joe said this with humor. "Oh, don't hold my hand." And then he kind of settled in, and right after that, he said, "Just pray for me."
Leitzel says he knew Corcoran longer than just the hour he spent with him before his execution, but for decades, even sharing these pictures with me that he took in 1989. And then Leitzel says as a teenage Corcoran in school and at his youth camps. He says over the last 26 years, he'd visit him in prison, where Corcoran would later ask Leitzel to be with him come execution day.
I've known him too long. I've known his family. I couldn't imagine leaving him to go through that alone.
On the other side of the execution chamber, watching from a two-way mirror, Corcoran's wife and her adult son, witnessing him take his final breaths.
It was obviously very somber in that room, and it was a very serious moment within the chamber as well.
Casey Smith with the Capitol Chronicle was the only journalist invited to witness Corcoran die by lethal injection.
The only real movement that I saw from him during that time, when the blinds opened up initially, you could see some slight head movement. His eyes were open and they were blinking. A few minutes later, he did have a movement in his left hand, and then once that stopped, he did not move anymore.
Corcoran was the first inmate to be executed by the state since 2009. And as we previously reported, Indiana's Attorney General Todd Rokita is asking the state's Supreme Court to set an execution date for Benjamin Ritchie. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 2002 after killing Beech Grove police officer William Toney in 2000.
Now, I did reach out to the AG's office to find out if a date has been set for Ritchie's execution, and they tell me there has not.
Chase, thank you. There are several other men also on Indiana's death row right now.
In addition to Benjamin Ritchie, who Chase just mentioned, there are 6 more men on Indiana's death row, and prosecutors are also seeking the death penalty in 3 pending cases here in central Indiana. Those cases involve Carl Boards II, Orlando Mitchell, and Delani Rogers.
Boards is charged in the Elward officer's death of Noah Chanavez. Mitchell is charged with killing Marion County Deputy John Durham.
Dan Delani Rogers is charged with the murders of 2 men and the shooting of 2 others outside a Plainfield motel.
The Delphi Murders trial was one of the most expensive in Indiana state history.
And more than a month after Richard Allen's trial ended, the bills are still coming in. The latest financial records obtained by 13 Investigates show Carroll County has now paid more than $2.5 million to try the man now convicted in the murders of teenagers Abby Williams and Libby German.
The data is coming from the Carroll County Auditor's Office, and it shows more than $260,000 spent on hotels, food, and transportation for the jury. over $830,000 for security, and more than $1 million for attorneys and legal fees. The auditor says there are still more bills for the trial that have yet to be paid.
And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel will break these expenses down further, and he'll also explain why the costs could still go much higher. That's ahead at 6.
And you can get caught up on the case ahead of the sentencing for Richard Allen that is set for this Friday. All of our coverage is online. You can get there by scanning this QR code. It'll take you right to WTHR.com/Delphi.
Tonight, we are getting our first look at the permanent memorial to honor the victims killed in the FedEx mass shooting here in central Indiana. Their family members gathered at the facility in Plainfield to privately dedicate that memorial yesterday. But this is a public memorial. It's at the facility located in the Ameriplex complex just west of the Indianapolis International Airport. 8 people lost their lives in that shooting back in April of 2021. You're taking a look at their pictures right now. And we got a chance to catch up with the family of Matt Alexander while at the memorial today.
It's very special. It's very humbling. Matt always told us that FedEx is one big happy family. And I think with this memorial, in memory of all the victims, I think that just shows the type of company that FedEx is and that they are a family.
And FedEx issued a statement today telling us their goal was to build a space to provide healing and hope for those impacted by the shooting and the entire Indianapolis community.
As expected, a colder day across central Indiana under cloudy skies. Temperatures right now in the middle and upper 30s. 36 degrees in Carmel, 37 Noblesville and Greensburg. We have 39 Brown County and 36 degrees in Crawfordsville at this hour. Cloudy skies, but no rain or snow this evening. We'll stay in the 30s under those cloudy skies over the next few hours. As the winds lighten up, chance we get some patchy fog. That would be a concern for the morning drive because temperatures are below freezing tomorrow morning. If we get the fog developing, may have some slick spots on bridges and overpasses as it is going to be a cold start. You'll need the coat start to finish tomorrow. We'll start the day in the upper 20s. Eventual high temperatures tomorrow in the 30s. We'll talk about Friday snow chances in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Angela. A multi-million-dollar overhaul is headed to Butler University's Clues Memorial Hall. It was just announced today. It'll include interior renovations and the addition of a new venue next door.
Our Marion County reporter Lauren Cossack got a sneak peek into the future changes that will transform this theater that is decades old.
The renovations at Clues Hall will include upgrades to the seating, restrooms, the loading dock, and of course the stage, all in hopes of attracting bigger, more elaborate productions here on Butler's campus. The hall first opened its doors in 1963, originally hosting Indy's Symphony Orchestra before becoming home to Broadway shows like The Nutcracker. Now a new $9 million grant looks to launch the hall into a new era. Butler University's president announcing the donation Wednesday from the Allen Whitehill Clues Foundation.
Butler University is once again poised to lead a new era in the uplifting and renewal of our city.
The plan includes a new venue next door to be used as a music hall or ballroom for private events, plus renovations to the theater itself, something Butler's Aaron Hurd is leading, saying it's personal, with his father and grandfather both working at the hall.
Of a certain generation, when you think of concerts coming to Indy, you think of downtown or you think of Broad Ripple. I want Clues back in the mix of that. And we are there ticket sales wise, and I think that's where this grant helps us go to the next level.
Including improved seating and open air suites, expansion of restrooms, 2 additional loading docks, and stage upgrades with more rigging points and reinforced flooring. Improvements even neighbors are excited about, saying Clues is more than just a venue.
It's just wonderful, and I like the vibe, the vibrancy that we will have now in this neighborhood.
And construction is scheduled to start next June and be done in 4 different phases. As for the ballroom, that is expected to open in spring of 2027. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
The renovation at Clues are also helping launch the development of the Midtown Arts District. That's part of the Butler Gateway project. The whole goal of that is to connect the university with surrounding neighborhoods.
This Friday, the Indianapolis Airport Authority Board will consider selling the downtown heliport to the city of Indianapolis. The FAA approved the closure of the heliport last month, and now Mayor Hogsett wants to buy that land, tear down the heliport, and build a Major League Soccer stadium. In a statement, a city representative told us the city is, quote, following through with the memorandum of understanding we've had with the Indianapolis Airport Authority for several years.